I don't know. Yeah, maybe y'all saw. Maybe you didn't see. Maybe I mean, people can only watch so much news, you know. But y'all saw the president at the UN. This is. I didn't see everything as it was happening. I heard about some stuff later, right? So then I got a text message from my friend. They were like, "Oh, did you see what happened at the UN?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see what happened at the UN." And they explained to me that, you know, he was getting on escalator, and then the escalator stopped. Now, I thought at the time, I thought it was going very differently. I thought the escalator stopped on like a down escalator. That would have been a big deal. Imagine you on escalator. You have belief. You get on a down escalator, you're like, all right, it's gonna take me where I need to go. No need for a seatbelt. If that thing just stops, the momentum, whoa! Now the president's falling down the steps. So I thought that's what happened. Then I watched the video and I saw that he just walked up to the escalator, stepped on the escalator, and the escalator broke. And you saw him stand at the bottom of the escalator like, what? And Melania didn't miss a beat. She just started walking up the escalator. And so there were people that were like, this was sabotage. UN needs to be investigated. Somebody needs to be arrested, right? But then he made it up the escalator / stairs. And he went to speak to the UN. Went to speech for the whole of the UN. He's standing here, UN, over there. And as soon as he goes to start, the teleprompter broke. We know the teleprompter broke because he told us. As soon as he walked up, he told us, teleprompter broke. First the escalator, teleprompter broke. Nothing here work. Nothing. No, teleprompter. And it's like, look, if you're delivering a speech and it's been, you know, uploaded to teleprompter, then teleprompter breaks, like, that is something to be annoyed or caught off guard about. But I'm sitting there watching, like, why do you care that the teleprompter, you're not gonna read it, like you're not. Every speech is off the dome. Every speech you can tell every speech, he's over here freestyling every time. Why do you even have a speechwriter? You know the president's speechwriter right now gotta be the easiest job in the world. You just over here typing up chapters from Great Expectations, knowing he's not gonna read it. Knowing he's just gonna go, you know what I mean? He goes off of vibes. What do you care that the teleprompter's broke? You weren't gonna look at it. You might have read the first couple sentences and then been like, you know what? I'm gonna speak from the heart. And so the teleprompter broke it, you know? And so he's like, I guess I'll just have to. Which was also wild because the speech was printed out in front of him. But he was like, no, you want me to turn pages? No. And then proceeds to, you know, give this address to the UN, and it depending on who you talk to, depending on whose opinion you're listening to, it did not go fantastic. Because the energy of the speech was like the normal energy. It was like rally energy, you know, like talking to his base or something. But this is the UN. They don't live here. Like they're not. Some of the stuff they don't care about. Like you talking to the UN. Everyone's here. He's over here like I inherited a mess and we fixed it and like years ago we were down in the dumps and now we're the hottest country in the world. He keeps saying we're the hottest country in the world and I don't know what that means. I feel like even the UN was like, so what? Climate change? What does it mean, the hottest? This is also wild because, like, you talking to other countries right now. Why are you dunking on them right now? Then, dudes over here, I ended, like, 7 wars. And it's just funny because, like, everybody he talking about is there. So now some of these countries look at each other across the desk like, I don't know. I didn't even, what did I say? Nah, it was incredible. And then there was a weird thing. I think it was Brazil. He was talking about the leader of Brazil and how, like, first of all, this dude also tariffing everybody. So then he was talking about how he doesn't do deals with people he doesn't like, but then he had a good handshake with the leader of Brazil, so maybe they could work something out. Even Brazil had to be like, yo, I don't know. I just saw him in the hallway. Out here trying to be cordial. I don't even know if this is good. Was this good? No, it's phenomenal performance. Truly, I've not seen anything like it. Just over here. I'm sure if you were at the UN, just sitting there, you just sitting there quietly listening, looking over at other countries. There's some countries that had just be chuckling. Like countries that aren't in the mix, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like a key member of BRICS or you're not, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like in the news in that way, you just come, you enjoy the show. You know? Like I imagine maybe Zimbabwe might have been cracking up. They'd be like, that's your friend. That's your friend. But that wasn't the only incredible performance. That wasn't the only press conference. Because they held a press conference. Because they found it. They found it. They nailed it down. They found the cause. That's what they said. No, gathered everybody together, got the press conference going on. Looked like it was in the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were gonna talk about the causes that they had found, the root cause of autism. This is what they said. And so, they walk in and you had Dr. Oz. Dr. Osmosis himself. Dr. Ozymandias. Like, Dr. Oz is standing there. And like, why? How did this happen? If we are just gonna start putting people from TV in real, like, government position, in real medical field, can we at least get somebody from like Grey's Anatomy or something? You know what I mean? Like, if we are already not being serious, can we not be serious better? Who is checking for Dr. Oz besides Oprah? Who is? He's standing there, doesn't even really look that healthy himself. This man's advice so far has been actually insane. They've done interviews with him. He's, spoken to the public. Like, what would you suggest for Americans? The man's out here. If you want to, if you don't, look. If you don't want to be sick, be healthy. I wish I was joking. I would like I can barely take credit for that one. I changed like 2 words. So you got Dr. Oz from TV on one side. And then you have y'all know who he is. And then you have RFK Jr. on the other side, looking odder than usual. If y'all saw it, you know what I'm talking about. RFK Jr. showed up. I don't know what's happening. Because it wasn't like a tan. Like, he looked like a bruised blueberry. Like, he looked wild, and nobody addressing it. Nobody saying anything. The president over here just trying to not use his peripheral vision. RFK Jr. is white. No, that is a white man. He's white. He's a white guy. But that's the first time I've ever seen a white guy and been like, he is colored. Like that. Yo, my man, what is happening? He just stand there like he's been holding his breath for 26 years. This is very bad. And then, I don't know who told him. I imagine it could have been somebody, higher up, but it could even just been an aide that told the president, okay, you're going to give this press conference, you're going to talk about links to autism, and what you need to do, this is very important, for legal, this is very important for a lot of reasons, what you need to do is say the name of the drug. Then you can go on and say the brand name. But you need to say the name of the drug because the drug is what we're saying is the link, not one particular brand. So there are other like store brands that are this drug. You need to say the drug. Say the drug. You have to say the drug. Okay? Say the drug. And I'm sure he attacked it with that regular, bravado. I'm gonna say it, whatever. Get out of here, let me work. Let me get in the zone, all right? I got you in my ear, I got him over here being purple. Let me work. Man, it goes up, starts the speech. is rolling. Is rolling with it. And then he hit a more than 8-letter word. And then the commander-in-chief, leader of the free world, in real time, in front of us, the American public, technically the whole world, because the internet, our leader in front of the nation, at a press conference they called. Our leader in real time sounded it out. I try really hard. No matter who somebody is, no matter the background, no matter the situation, really treat people like equals, not like look at people a certain type of way. We all struggle. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses and everything. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. If you are 80 and you haven't attacked a word before, maybe it's just not a word you ever going to get. Like if you... It's late. It's late for him to be sounding out new words. Because the word, he could see the word coming up. And sounded it out confidently too, just over here, some toast, and it's not like it was in the mic. You couldn't hear it into the mic, but you could tell Dr. Oz was standing there trying to do hard ventriloquism. Just... Dr. Oz was standing there like, just open your mouth, let me do it. Dr. Oz was fighting to just, you could see him. I see him in the face. I see him in the face. I said, Tom, I see the Trump. See him, man. I knew when he looked around, we were cooked. Like I knew it. When that man looked up from the paper, I was like, no, stay on it, stay on it. Stay with it, you almost got it. I said, Tom, I see him, I see him, Tylenol, and like that. That is also wild too. Gave us the full, what is it, Porky Pig? Gave us the full Tylenol. And he was hitting those T's, that Tylenol extra hard. He was Get this payback with those T's. Tylenol, don't take that Tylenol. When y'all see Tylenol. Because it was rough. It was like, you've been in third grade before. You remember when a teacher, I didn't even know this at the time, but it was basically when a teacher had like a hangover, and so then the teacher would just make y'all read the book to each other. At the time, I really thought it was about learning, and now that I'm grown enough to have friends that are teachers, I'm like, no, you had a bender. That's what this is. Don't try to put this off on the students. You seeing double right now. And so it would be, your turn would be coming up. And you would do a thing. Somebody would be reading over here, and you start counting people and counting paragraphs. And then you read ahead a little bit so that when it's your time to read your paragraph, you're reading your paragraph all fast and everything. People can't even retain the information. Then, there'd always be that one kid. There'd be that one kid where it's like, when you get to his paragraph, that's gonna last till the end of class. So, you literally count your paragraph till you have to read, and then you count paragraphs, and you like, the bell gonna ring here. Sometimes to be a kid, everybody learns differently. We all have different abilities, and you do your best to be as patient as possible. I remember, I had one kid in my class that we would do that, and then his paragraph be coming up, and as soon as his paragraph start, everybody's like, and then he would start, and he would be sounding it out, and then hit the word, and then sounding it out. Everybody learns at a different pace. Sounding it out, hit the word. Sound it out, hit the word. Sometimes he'd even go back, sound it out, hit the word, say the last 3 words together. He's learning. We're all learning. Everybody moves in their own time. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I was a kid too. I wasn't always patient. Sometimes he'd be sitting there and be like, and I'd be like, it's A. You already hit it. It's A. There's nothing left to do. It's A. It is A. You did it. High five. You did it. It's A. It's only A. And then you grow up and you mature and you realize that everybody's good at stuff. People aren't as good at stuff and everything. Because I'll tell you what, I could read, when I was a kid, I could read, very good at reading. My math wasn't great. So then when it came to math, it was me who was like a little bit behind all the time, especially when we got to like algebra. Because I could factor a little bit. I understood denominators and stuff like that. Like I felt like I was keeping up and everything. But when we hit algebra, all of a sudden the tables were turned. This is why you have to be as patient with people as you want them to be with you. Because I'm sitting there. And for the first time, there's letters. There's letters in the math problem, but I'm sitting over here like, and then he was sitting there like, it's 4. And so, he's over there. He went ahead and dunked on that acetaminophen, and then went ahead and started saying Tylenol, started describing to the people things that were not on the paper in front of him. Which is why you definitely shouldn't be upset when the teleprompter doesn't work. You know is what you're gonna do. This man was just throwing out all types of wild claims. This dude was like, hey, look, the Amish, don't have any autism. And a couple times in this press conference, he would say something, then turn to somebody and be like, is that true? My man, no, it's all on the paper. They put it all on the paper. You had RFK Jr. turn from purple to red. Because then he just started going off on like vaccines in general, you know, and just started saying like, look, you know, it's too much. It's too much. And he's not the first person, he's not the only person to be saying that. It's too much at one time. You know, you got those beautiful babies and you shooting them up with 80 shots of liquid. The thing that stuck out to me about the liquid thing is that you could tell he wanted to say juice. You could tell he's like, they put too much juice in them babies. Nobody need all that vaccine juice. No, it was truly wild. And then it was over. And then it was over. I can't imagine what it must have been like to be on the board of Tylenol. If you're on the board of Tylenol watching this press conference, you over here probably on a whole roller coaster of emotions. Like, at first you'd be sweating because they had let it slip several times that this is basically what the topic was going to be and what was going to be said. It had been like, you know, pieced out, little flavor, little sprinkle here and there for the media all the way up until that press conference, right? But then, when they actually said it, I'm sure Tylenol was stressing when they said this is what the press conference was going to be about. This is what they were going to talk about. You work at Tylenol, you sitting there, edge of your seat. And then he goes to say the name of the drug, and you're probably like, this might not be that bad for us, honestly. He almost said a cinnamon. We might be in the clear here. All we gotta do is come out with a label, no cinnamon in our product. We'll be fine. And then he says your brand name. Then he says your brand name over and over again, and now you're like, that's not good. That one came out perfectly. And then he talks about the Amish, and you're like, I guess if people watch the whole thing, they'll be confused enough to not know if they should take it or not. Because my thing is, look, why have such an unforced error? You know what I mean? Go ahead. You already got Caroline Levitt talking to the media all the time. Get her out there to start the thing. Get her say the name of the drug and then walk off. Then you can go and just go off your vibes and everything. You had two people on either side of you that probably say the name of the drug all the time. Don't let him, but let Dr. Oz say it. Let him earn his keep. No, he over here supposed to be a doctor. Got the shortest name I've ever seen. Because I do my best to be up on the news, but I don't always want to talk about, politics and stuff. Sometimes there's stuff that happens that has nothing to do with anything political, and it just warms your heart to see it. You'll see a news story that captivates you, and it doesn't take you into like any sort of polarized position, Like I saw this South Carolina teacher that got arrested for using fart spray on the students as a punishment. Look, I'm not a teacher. I come from like a family of teachers, people that work in education. And like kids have always and will always drive adults insane. It's like part of the bargain that we have. Is part of the truce, you know? It's like y'all won't do a Lord of the Flies. Y'all just be bad in school and we'll pay the bills. And like, I can't imagine what it's like to teach, especially now. You have kids who genuinely, because of like lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, missed out on little pieces. You have adults now who missed out on like a full college experience. You also have little kids who missed out on having their friends over and, being able to socialize at a very specific point in their life. So everybody's been like knocked off their kilter a little bit by COVID and by lockdown, not being able to just be with each other. That's just, a fact. And because of how school was going in that time, you have people who are really behind because they didn't have that special attention. You had to do school on Zoom with a bunch of other students, and maybe a kid needed help and they couldn't get it immediately, not in the way you can get it when you're present, I can't imagine what it would be like right now to be in school, sitting there, trying to do my algebra like zzz, 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 zzz. And so then the kids come back to school and, some of them are excited to see their friends. Some of them are still trying to learn how to socialize. Some of them, maybe aren't as affected as others. But kids will be kids. Kids will be loud. They won't listen, all that stuff. And then what do you do if you're a teacher? You got teachers out here fighting for their lives just to try to teach you some English. You see videos of it all the time, teachers going through it because students don't want to listen, all this stuff. This is the person that's just trying to make sure you know how to spell. So one day, if you make it all the way to the White House and you have to address the nation, you won't be like, sematosis. And so if you're a teacher, you know what I mean? What do you do? Like my teachers used to yell. Teachers yell. It happens. Hey, stop! And you can tell. There's a certain yell, especially when you got like a male teacher. There's a certain yell that you can tell you broke him because his voice cracked. You know what I mean? Like, if he's like, hey, hey, y'all, chill out, right? And he's had enough of it, and maybe you're the first period of the day. You know what I mean? Y'all being a little loud. Hey, listen up, right? Something happened at about 5th period and on, where if you really got him at his wits' end, he'd be like, hey! Can't even help you people. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell when a teacher really at the edge, when they just start talking to the students like they are society. Like it's like you do your best, You go to a state school to save money because you know you're not going to make it here. You got a passion for Spanish, so you try to teach it to you knuckleheads. Just truly, teacher ready to cry. Over here, you get that third shut up. Sometimes that third shut up doesn't have any bass behind it. It sounds a little bit, shut up! Leaning against the board. I don't know what to do. And so what do? You know what I mean? Yelling doesn't work. You can't hit them. Somebody came up with a plan. Somebody was like, y'all don't respect me? Okay, y'all don't respect me? You will respect this. Because I've read different reports. Some reports say he was like doing a prank or whatever. Some reports say he was like mad about whatever. But I'm telling you, he could have done it for any amount of reasons. Maybe this dude didn't take his job seriously. Maybe, he was out here just trying to prank for fun. He's somehow like a teacher's assistant, whatever, and still hadn't like grown up. So then he's over here, ooh, look at you, stinky, ooh. Ooh, stink butt over here, ooh. Maybe. But maybe he had enough. You can only take so many spitballs to the back of the neck before you snap. Maybe this dude came in one day and was like, all right, look, I hate this, come to this, I really do. But please believe me, if you talk all the time or you never talked before, anybody can get it, all right? I'm not gonna lose my voice this week because y'all don't wanna learn. Anybody can get it. Anybody. I'm gonna put it right here. And I'm begging y'all not to test me. As soon as somebody's talking to their friend, he's like, what? He must have been brandishing it. He must have been wielding it because apparently, like, from what I read, like 100 parents complained or something. This dude got arrested, and then I think they said like 2 students went to the hospital or something like that. And I'm sure you over there in interrogation tried to defend yourself. They should have thought about that asthma when they were doing all that talking, all right? How do we know it was a spray? What if it was that talking that caused the asthma attack? Over here, mouth moving 100 miles a minute. I'm trying to teach something. Listening is easy to breathe. Because I wonder how much he must have done it. You know what I mean? Was it just off of anything? Just one little noise? Huh? Or did he wait? Was he like writing on the board, letting the chatter sort of build? And then that's the thing. When you're a kid in class, you always think you're good if you're just not as loud as the loudest person. But that noise rises the entire level of the volume, because now if everybody's talking a little bit, somebody's gonna get a little bit more confident, get a little louder. Everybody starts talking a little louder, and as long as they're not as loud as the loud one, now everybody's basically screaming just so they can hear themselves because they're all doing so much talking. And next thing you know, he whips around, hey! Y'all gonna learn today. Because even the school said that he did $55,000 worth of damage. How? It must just be in the walls now.
I felt so dumb. I didn't realize a service dog and an emotional support dog were 2 different things. I knew they were different because the names are different, but I didn't realize in which ways they were different. A service dog is trained. That's a trained animal to take care of the person that has the need that they help with. An emotional support dog is just a dog you feel a connection to. That you just get to emotionally support. The dog doesn't have a choice, really. The dog is... You just roll up on a dog one day and you're like, I'm gonna tell you everything. That's... Wow, I did not know. Had no idea. And I bring it up because my friend, she got an emotional support dog for her husband without knowing that this dog was an emotional wreck. I don't know what's wrong with the dog. They bring the dog home. Something wrong with the dog throat, okay? I don't know what it is, but it can't bark right. So it doesn't bark, it just screams, okay? And not like a yelp. This isn't sad. This is worse than that. It just screams human screams, okay? So the dog, I was on the phone with her, heard the dog in the background, and the dog was like, oh! That's just all the time. That's all day what the dog does. Non-stop. It's crazy. The dog has bad nerves, and so it screams all the time. Everything sets it off. You pet the dog, it'll scream, and then it'll let you pet it, right? Because you snuck up on it to pet it. So you pet it, you're like, oh. It's terrible. Dog's a light sleeper, too. So the dog will be taking naps, the most Instagrammable naps you've ever seen. Just like belly up, paws down, everything. And it'll still be snoring little puppy snores, too, like, oh. That's how it wakes up every day. And so she's like, my life is hell. This is terrible because I got the dog as an emotional support dog for my husband, not knowing that the dog is anxious and my husband's anxious. So the dog is emotionally supporting the husband just in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? Because then the husband is like, I don't feel so good. And the dog's like, yeah, you're right. It's a lot to be worried about, dog. It's crazy out here. What's that over there? Huh? Like, that's what it's doing all the time. She can't get any sleep because the dog sleeps with them. So the dog sleeps in between. It's actually adorable. It's like very like home living. Her right here, dog over here, husband over here. But they live in like a noisy apartment, paper thin walls, so you can hear the door slam from down the hall, right? And so the dog waking up all night. So somebody will slam the door down the hall, a door that has nothing to do with them, that is none of their business, and the dog will be like, oh! And then her husband will be like, ah! And then she will be like, ah! That's just all day. That's just going and revolving, this domino effect of screams. It got so bad, someone called the police. Police show up to her door, knock. She answers like, hey, I'm here to do like a wellness check. Neighbor said that they heard screaming. And she's like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm okay and everything. And my husband's here. Come over here. He comes over to the door. He's like, hey, I'm good. We're all good in here. And the cop is like, oh, okay, cool. Where's that third person? Because they said specifically that there was 3 people. And then she's like, no, it's just us here. So now they look like they've murdered a person. Like now it looks like a cover-up, right? And it's like, no, it's just here. Cop's writing down everything that they're saying. As the cop is writing, he dropped his pen, and the dog in the background is like, oh! And the cop sees the dog and is like, and then she's like, oh, yeah, that must have been what it was. I got the dog from my husband, but it turns out that the dog is anxious and my husband is anxious. My life is hell. I can't. Oh. Okay. Have y'all seen how much trouble Lizzo is in? This is crazy. This is genuinely wild, you know? If you don't know, like, Lizzo has a lawsuit out that's like coming at her for like all types of discrimination and body shaming and stuff like that. And it's her fans who are like genuinely hurt. Her fans are very hurt by the whole thing. She lost 150,000 followers on Instagram alone in one day when the news broke. 150,000 followers in one day. That means even bots were like, I can't endorse this. This is unacceptable. But genuinely, I think this is the thing. I think that Lizzo's fans are so hurt because she's known to them and to a lot of the world as this like true beacon of like light, loving yourself, forget haters, embrace who you are and everything. Which is why this should be a lesson to everybody in here, everyone listening to me right now. This is a lesson to all of us to never, ever become a positive influencer. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's too far to fall. Oh my God. I'm not even like a famous guy, but I still, in case I ever get there, tell people all the time that I can be a dick. Just to give myself some breathing room, you know what I mean? Just a little bit, you know? That way when I fall off my pedestal, I sprain my ankle instead of break my neck, you know what I mean? Because I'm human. Something's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna catch me on TikTok one day, just yelling at a United Airlines gate agent. And when I get caught, even people who don't know will be like, he always told us he was a dick. Like, I kind of laid it all out there. Oh, it's tough. And I think that this is the reason that it's so tough for people. We do a thing that is not fair to us, and it's not fair to the people that we do it to, where we pull our role models, our like heroes, positive influences, from people that we already like from doing other stuff. You notice that? We rarely ever make an actual activist famous. You know, there are people doing the work. There are people, whatever you care about, there are people in the world only doing that thing. But instead of finding them and lifting them up, we're like, no, after LeBron dunked, he looked in the camera and said, Black Lives Matter, bitch. So I think the cops have to stop. I think that's all we need to do, really. You know, we can't keep doing this thing where we conflate talent for character. You know, you got to be very careful. Be very careful of the people that seek power and the people that seek fame, because they're usually the same. And then we act surprised when we see their worst sides, you know. And we only do this thing with celebrities. You never do that with a regular dude with a regular job. You know what I mean? Somebody can sing, doesn't make Martin Luther King. You know? We never do it to regular people. I've never had a plumber that was so good, I was like, he must be a good dad. Like, there's something about the way he plumbed that just spelled father figure, you know what I mean? Like, the way he be pulling it out. I go the other way now. Now when I see somebody super talented out here dancing, popping and locking and stuff, I'm like, oh, he probably beat people. Like, I can see it, yeah, because he knows the moves. He knows how to choke, you know what I'm saying? And we don't know. We don't know what happened. We can feel how we feel, but we don't know, right? But I will say, it doesn't help that Lizzo hired Cosby's lawyer. That's I don't know. We don't know, but that doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. I don't know how to describe it, but like, if you ever told me, you told people and you confront me and you were like, you did this thing, and I was like, hey, I didn't do that shit. Give me the nigga that Cosby got. All right. Like I said. No. Just doesn't sit well, you know. All right. I have to go soon. Everybody's had a gun story so far, so I figure I'll tell a quick one. I was in Texas. Texas is like open carry, you know what I mean? And so I saw these two dudes. I was in Target, right? And I saw these two dudes bump into each other, and they both whipped around. And they didn't seem angry, but they were checking each other up and down. I was like, this is some like alpha male type thing is about to happen, right? And then one was like, I see you're carrying. And the guy went, I sure am. And like, I should point out real quick that this is at the self-checkout at Target, so like, so I'm just trying to ring myself up. Like, I'm over, but he over here and he over here, so I'm gonna get shot because I'm in between, right? You can't have a standoff with somebody in the middle. No Western has ever done that, you know what I mean? So I'm like, y'all, please, we are in Target. And so then he's like, I sure am. And the other guy's like, so am I. And the guy who did this goes, oh my God, we have the same gun. Oh my God, that's so dope. They both pulled out their guns and they both had the same like camo print, everything. I was like, wow, what an adorable outing. You all were so great. Thank you so much. I'm Josh Johnson. I know that y'all consume a ton of American news because we're right there and we're pretty loud about it. So I know y'all saw the mugshot and everything. And sure. I was fascinated by that day, but not by him, not by Trump. Most fascinating person to me in that whole day, because Trump went in, turned himself in, and he had a lot of co-defendants, like 10 plus co-defendants that also had turned themselves in that day, take their mug shot, everything. But the person that I'm the most fascinated by is this dude named Harrison Floyd. Right? Now, Harrison Floyd is one of the co-defendants with Trump, and he's the only one out of all those people that did not get a bond agreement, right? He had to sit in jail until he could see a judge. He's also the only one out of all those people that is black. I should also point out, he's also the only one out of all those people that allegedly assaulted the FBI agent that tried to serve him his subpoena, all right? So basically, this dude had to sit in jail because he tried to fight mail, okay? So basically what happens is, FBI show up at the door, try to give him his subpoena. He went for the FBI agent's gun, all right? Then he later admitted to police if he had got the gun, he would have shot the FBI agent and killed him. He also admitted to police that if he had known it was the FBI at the door, he would have brought his gun and shot him and killed him. All right? That's what we like to call a thought. All right? What was he thinking? Never in the history of niggerdom has a nigga been this dumb. This is the most insane thing I've seen in a long time. He must have forgot he was black. What could possibly be going through your head? That was so insane. It was so crazy. It even made me feel bad for Trump for a second. Because how does he not have one single normal black fan? Every time one of his fans that's black makes the news is always going through something, It's terrible. Trump has a reputation as a racist, and he always talking about how he's the least racist person you could ever meet. I don't know. After this, I'm inclined to maybe believe him. He be hanging out with the black people I would never hang out with. That's like truly. I don't know. This dude like a Statue of Liberty for wayward niggas. This is astounding. He's just standing like, bring me your ashy, your dusty, your dumbass masses. The story was so crazy, I'm not gonna lie, I even felt bad for FBI agent. I never thought I'd say that in my life. I even felt bad for the FBI agent, because if somebody goes for your gun for a split second, you gotta think they're going for your dick. You gotta be like... I had this popped in my head out of nowhere. I had this date years ago where we both admitted to each other on the date that for both of us it was our first date in a year. And it was really great. That was such a great thing for us to share, because then we both knew in that moment we were about to be trash. Like, this is... Neither one of us are getting each other's best. We're very rusty. And it actually ended up being a great date. Like, it was a great little hangout. We were getting along wonderfully. The vibe was not there, right? We weren't clicking in that way, but we were like, no, this is like, it's just great to spend time with a cool person, you know? And so at the end of the date, it was like a non-verbal thing. It was just a thing that we were both thinking. We just went ahead and we gave it a shot. Just one kiss, just to see. Because we've been getting along great for 3 hours. What if there's a spark, you know? You don't want to miss out on that. And I should mention that she's not just a lovely person, wonderful human. She also has the biggest hands of anyone I've ever met in my life. Her hands were huge, okay? And I'm not coming down on her hands, because I don't know if you noticed my hands since I've been up here, but I could use some more manly digits. These are not the hands I would have picked if they had been handing out hands. These are piano fingers at best. I was jealous of her hands the whole day. We went to an arcade and we were playing whack-a-mole and she was using the mallet and her hands. She was like, her hands were so strong, she accidentally opened a locked door. Bathroom door was locked. Somebody was in there. She didn't know. She just twisted it. And we all heard the pop. It was a pop because she broke the lock. She has a locksmith right here. They just popped right and opened it. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Spent the whole day jealous of those hands. And so we went to kiss, right? And as we went to kiss, I felt something. I felt something up. I felt something up the back of my head. And I realized it was her hand. She was cupping the back of my head with her hand. I'd never been cupped before. I didn't even know that was a move people were doing in real life. Like, and if you were far away, it must have looked like my whole head fit in her hand. It must look like she was cupping a baby in her hand. And then I could feel this. I could feel this pressure from her kiss that was knocking me off balance a little bit. And that's when I realized, I'm like, wait, this bitch trying to dip me. I started fighting the dip. I was like, you ain't gonna dip me. You ain't gonna dip me. I'm a man, you ain't gonna dip me. Because think about it, if we have this kiss and there's a spark and we start going out, you gotta establish parameters early. If you let her dip you on the first kiss, the first time y'all smash, your legs will be in the air, bro. That's just the law. She already established dominance, all right? And so I'm fighting. I'm like, you ain't gonna dip me. You ain't gonna dip me. I ain't going. I'm sure I gave her the worst kiss of her life because my core was on fire. So I'm sure I was kissing just like. I don't know. In those moments of the kiss could have been more than like 8 seconds, but a lot was going on. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. In that kiss, I kind of felt, at least what I imagined, like I almost feel like I felt like a woman for a second, because I was like, you know what I mean? Because I was like safe but in danger. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like she had me, but she might take me. You know?